Welcome. I'm Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing The Courtship of Princess Leia by Dave Wolverton. Part of the Star Wars Legends. You might be wondering why I have a bunch of David Farland books behind me for this review. Well, for those of you that do not know, David Wolverton is also David Farland, who wrote the Rune Lords fantasy series. Many of you already know that, some of you don't, so for those that don't, there you go. Now, Dave Wolverton is his real name. Dave Farland is his pseudonym. Dave Wolverton, the man, I got to know at a very young age. In Provo, Utah, when I was going to college there, I entered a competition called Writers of the Future, Illustrators of the Future. And I was a winner. And one of the judges in the competition was Dave Wolverton. Now, I won the Illustrators of the Future part of the competition for a lot of the artwork I was doing as a college student. Dave Farland was one of the judges. I got to know him through that. He lived in Provo, Utah. I got to become friends with him. I was there when he was writing this book. It was a big deal for him. He'd written a few science fiction books before, gotten them published through Bantam Books, and he had been commissioned to do a Star Wars novel, one of the very first Star Wars novels, right after the Thrawn trilogy, right after Kevin J. Anderson's Jedi Apprentice trilogy. David Farland was one of the grandfather pioneers of the Star Wars novels in the early 90s. And I got to see him. I was there for it when he got the commission and when he was writing it and when he became a bestseller. It was pretty cool to see. Pretty cool to have one of your friends go through that experience. It was awesome to see. Now, he gave me a copy of the book when it first came out. I read it and I liked it. I was a little bit taken aback by the title, The Courtship of Princess Leia. I don't know whether it's my favorite title in the Legends series or my least favorite title in the Legends series. I do remember when I read it, I was kind of conflicted because I'm like, okay, The Courtship of Princess Leia. Let's talk about the plot. Princess Leia and Han Solo are in love at the end of Return of the Jedi, correct? Everybody knows that. Well, this starts out where they're still kind of dating. It's a few years after Return of the Jedi. They're still kind of into each other, but Princess Leia gets a request from a very rich aristocratic family that owns some planets and owns a lot of influence in the universe. And they're like, hey, we want to have an arranged marriage between Leia and our son Isildur. I kept pronouncing it Isildur because of the Lord of the Rings. So we'll just go with Isildur. I think it's Isildur or something like that. But just imagine, a guy with long golden locks, the body of a gladiator, the typical dude on a romance cover, the typical guy that's a muscle-bound guy on a Harlequin romance book cover. That's the type of character we're talking about. He's very charming, very good-looking, very wealthy. His family is very powerful, and they want him to marry Princess Leia. And they offer the marriage proposal saying, hey, if you marry our son, the galaxy will be a safer place because of the marriage connection. And the thing is, Princess Leia knows that. They are correct. The galaxy will be a better place if she marries this dude. And she kind of likes the dude. The dude's kind of an all right guy. But where's the conflicting part? Well, we all want Han Solo and Leia to get together. We don't want her to marry, some golden god, some golden Greek god, some romance novel stud. We don't want that. We don't want that. We want her to be with the scoundrel, the smuggler, the wisecracking Han Solo. That's who we want her to be with. And so that's the basis of the plot, Courtship of Princess Leia. And, initially, Han Solo, and this is another thing that I was a little conflicted with, was, because I just reread this for this review. I read this book when it first came out a long time ago when my friend Dave Wolverton gave me a copy. And I just reread it for this review. So there's been a big gap in time between my readings of this. And I remember when I first read it, it stuck out to me that, man, Han Solo, he's acted like a jealous simp. He's got this dude that's courting his girlfriend for real, and his girlfriend's taking the courting seriously, and Han Solo is not acting Han Solo-like at all. He's acting like a beta male, Sigma simp, just jealous all the time. But then when I reread it, there was a little bit more to it than that. Some of the banter and discussion back and forth between Han Solo and Isildur is pretty well done. And Han Solo, in retrospect, doesn't come off as the beta male simp that I thought that he was. He actually comes across as a little more tough, a little bit more like like a real man should in this situation. Things happen. Other things in the plot. That's the basis of the plot, and so the characters have to work through this. Another side plot is Luke Skywalker discovers a planet full of Jedi witches, which is kind of cool, and that's kind of a side plot. But anyway, Han Solo and Isildur have to Isildur. God, maybe I'll look and see. I'm pretty sure it's Isildur. Anyway, I kept pronouncing it Isildur. Isildur! From the Lord of the Rings. If you can get over the hump of some other guy being interested in Princess Leia other than Han Solo, and Princess Leia taking this guy seriously because she knows it will be good for the galaxy. If you can get over that hump and enjoy the story for what it is, it's a very Star Wars-y, enjoyable story with a lot of action, a lot of intrigue, and the characters are thrust into a situation that you're not expecting them to, this forced arranged marriage kind of a thing. It's a cool book. So congratulations to my friend Dave Wolverton for being one of the grandfather pioneers of the Star Wars Legends books. Like I said, the Star Wars Legends paperbacks are my, guilty pleasure reading favorite things to read. It's like, there's no huge amounts of depth to them. They're just straight Star Wars-y popcorn pulp adventure novels, and that's all I expect them to be. And they're great. Courtship of Princess Leia, again, written by a good friend of mine. And it's one of the better novels in the Star Wars Legends. We've discussed Star Wars Legends, how it's no longer canon anymore, how Disney bought out Lucasfilm, and all of the hundreds of Star Wars Legends books that were written are no longer count. Forget they existed. I still reread them because I think they're awesome. So if you want to read a good story in the Star Wars Legends universe, go pick up The Courtship of Princess Leia. It's a very, very good book. A quick read, an interesting read. Characters doing things you're not going to expect them to do. I really liked it.